I feel like I historically have been sort of the sick one.
Yeah,
I feel like that is the turns have tabled in the recent year or two with you.
probably.
Yeah, you're gunked up again.
I'm gunked up. Now, I fully blame teaching for everything that's going on in my life
Fair.
right now. Kids are
Everything more than being
kids are
sick.
petri dishes.
Can you blame other things in your life other than getting sick on these kids and teaching?
Yeah, they're stressing me out.
Do we need a therapy session today?
Yeah, probably.
You handle it well. You're so I'm very much like you, and maybe our listeners will agree or not, but even though we get on soapboxes and we rant on very rare occasion, but we do, like I am very even demeanored in my day-to-day life. Very little makes me angry or elated or sad, or I'm pretty steady. And I feel like you're the same way.
I think like anyone, I'm steadier with those I have to be steady around, and the people you're closest to get the worst of you. So, like, my kids a time or two have been like, "Are the kids stressing you out today, Dad?"
Oh,
Like,
really?
my children have asked that about the kids at school, and so I'm sure Lisa and the kids see a less even version of me.
That's fair. Why is that? Usually the people you're closest with will get the bad parts.
They get your worst, yeah. I don't know.
That's
I
true
don't know.
love right there, man.
Comfort.
True love. Yeah. You're free to express.
That's right.
Do you feel it like you're in a safe space on this podcast with our listeners?
I don't know. I'm sure, like, just based off 1 in 10 of people are serial killers, I think it's not a safe space. Or suspected serial killers. So I think with you, I'm in a safe place, but I can't speak for the full audience.
You are in a safe place with me, but yeah, you don't know who's chiming in right now. Mostly awesome, excellent, type A go getters, but you never
Not
know.
serial killers, but I think 1 in 10 are allegedly like
Psychopathic.
psychopathic. Yeah.
Uh huh. All right.
No, not super safe.
Well, I feel safe here with you and you guys listening right now. So thank you for this space. I have a proposition for you, Bracken.
Proposition me, Kirk.
Well, I was trying to think, and maybe the listeners are overhearing you talk about racing and karting because it's been okay, which I think they probably like. I can't imagine many of them have an authentic interest, but maybe are now.
The ones that do reach out, they're like, "Hey, I've been in motorsports my whole life," or whatever the
Okay.
story is. And it's cool that you're going through it.
But I still think it's a very select minority, but at all.
Yes, for
So
sure.
they're like, okay, Bracken, I'm ready for you to be done talking about racing. Let's get to the running, right?
Yep.
But um, I personal train a professional race car driver,
Yeah.
Aaron. Aaron Telitz. He drives for Lexus and Aston Martin. He's re-signed with Lexus again. That's how he makes his living. He travels around the country and world racing race cars. And we had a conversation, and I think you and I talked about this maybe off mic. I mean, he can be in a 6-hour race and his average heart rate can be 155 for 6
Right.
hours, right? Between the heat and the body tension and the muscle engagement. And he has some interesting perspectives. And I was working with him in the gym yesterday with his wife. And I thought we should have him on the podcast
We should.
for a conversation. And I said, Aaron, you want to come on and talk endurance training through a different lens? He said, yup. And so we can chat with him next Thursday for our Friday episode if you have an interest.
Oh, I have an interest.
So maybe we could collide our endurance space worlds and that and bring it through the endurance lens because I think our listeners would have an appreciation for what it takes. And also we
Yeah,
could talk out nuances. What do you think?
I'm always in.
Could
I'd use a Kirk phrase. Just a personal curiosity of mine.
Why don't we have Braden play hooky? Have him join us. It would be a wonderful, wonderful time.
It would. It wouldn't take much. Now, Braden wouldn't want to be on a podcast because he's introverted, but he hates school, so he would put up with it in order to get out of school.
Just think about it. Now I could have done this off mic with you, but I proposed it on mic. So,
Well, regardless or irregardless, Kirk, we should interview Aaron.
yeah. All right. Just some interesting stuff. What the athlete side of that is, which I honestly brushed endurance racing, car racing under the table. Like, okay, you drive a car. No, you don't. You
Yeah.
do, but no, you do not. And so,
Well, I got in a cart for the first time 2 weeks ago and was taken aback by how physical it was.
hmm. Drove
I mean,
like
to start with, there's no power steering.
you drove like a child's car
An
too.
adult.
Oh, okay.
An adult version, yeah. But no power steering alone and maximum force with most braking and turning situations. It's just very forearm, hip flexor, and core demanding off the start. And I have to assume I'm in better physical condition than most average Joes who get into a cart.
I would think.
And I was pumped out very shortly into this race.
What was the most pumped out on you?
Forearms,
Forearms.
for
Oh,
sure.
interesting.
And obviously, because I don't have time spent in the seat, I don't have a level of like relaxation in there. I'm for
Efficiency.
sure tense the whole time, but the lack of power steering is really difficult to relax into. So anyway, it just reminded me that this is a physical endeavor, but
Well,
no one
we
wants
can
to do
move
that
on.
today.
Something. Okay, so uh anyways, that might be in the pipeline, but we have 6 still screenshot Q&As that we didn't get to from Tuesday, and I would really like to clean the inbox.
Okay,
And so I would like to a continuation of that. If we have some extra time, we can cover some things we want to. Does that sound fair?
it does. Before we get started, just in case some of the editing it slips through for the people at home, I'm draining like crazy right now, so I'm going to be blowing my nose from time to time. But I took a cough drop right before this. I had a cough drop right before this, but it was Mucinex brand. I've never done that before. And my tongue, like the bottom third of it, is like
Tingling.
tingly numb. Very strange feeling to talk like that.
Okay, good. So
I feel like I'm at the dentist.
you have a free pass to just kind of, I don't know, mess up. How about
Yeah,
that?
there we go.
Slur your words a little bit. But one thing, I just got off a consult call with an athlete before this.
Okay.
An athlete I've worked with in the past, and an athlete who is now coming back to start up again for an ultra next summer. Had some injury stuff, and we took some time off just mostly because of that. But point being, I wanted to pose, this is not a Q&A, but this was the focus of our conversation. And so I want to get your perspective on it to kick off the Q&A. Cool.
Very.
I was just looking for okay.
Oh, I thought you were just going to dive in.
Well, I could. So one of the major issues, and he said he was screaming at the microphone while listening to us once, was we had a conversation with Rich Ryan about, I think his High Rocks training breakthroughs. Remember, we had him on and asked him about that. And he was listening to all the work being done and how most people are like, you got to double every day basically to get this work done that we talk about at times. And he's sitting there frustrated. He's 55. He's like, I'm wrecked constantly and I don't even do that. Where do I even go from here? What you guys talk about is felt like unrealistic expectations unless you're a cyborg like you guys. Like, for example, I guess I won't use his name, but he wouldn't care. Like, his legs are always wrecked from strength work. And then that impacts him for 3-4 days afterwards. And by the time he feels good again, he hits a hard session, he's wrecked again. And so the pattern we fell into when we worked together for the first year or two is like, he always felt like shit and he was always beat up.
Right.
And so the balancing act of and so my question to him was like, how much of this is strength? Is the strength ruining your running, or is it the combination of everything? Right. And are we setting unrealistic expectations in regards to our listeners being able to accomplish some things they're hearing about?
I think it's a good point. And I think just easy answer is like Rich Ryan's top 0.01% of the fitness world.
Oh, don't.
He was a 11 or something miler in high school.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Like there's some genetic things at play there combined with 25 years of training at a fairly high level. Yeah, we can't do what he does. But at the point where High Rocks is, if you want to be on a podium, those are the type of people you're dealing with. I don't know how many times you say this to athletes or clients you have, but I feel like once a week I talk to someone and say either about themselves or a competitor of theirs that they're trying to catch. Like if you or they had just found this sport at 20, you would be one of the pros we're talking about right now. Like those are the people that are filling up the age group podiums now and going to worlds. Like they would have been the Rich Ryans of the world 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like this is your competition. So no, it's not realistic for most people, but most people aren't trying to make a podium at the world level.
So a lot of this tends to be structural, I think, for people. Like your aerobic work is okay. It's actually like either delayed fatigue, structural fatigue from descending, or from your Bulgarian split squats, or whatever. For me, it's getting worse as I age. Like if I have a big leg session on Wednesday, sometimes even by Saturday, I'm still not back. I really am not, my rear chain in particular. And so the alternative in which I'm thinking about with him, and I'm going to put together his first block here next week. And I'm like, well, the Tyler German conversation of like activate, but not, and this gentleman he played football. He has a strength background. He's been in the gym under load since he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
It's hard for him to let go of that side of his life. But at some point, like, is it more like, hey, maybe we do box step ups and we do limited range lunging and we do 3/4 squats and we do things that don't quite stretch and activate at the full range of motion points and leave you more available? Because if you're running a 60K ultra in the mountains, which he is, we need you to be able to enjoy some of your time on feet. And
Yeah.
so like I waffle over really hard how to approach that, and I think that might be the right answer for a lot of people. What do you think?
Well, I think that what you're describing, I see a lot in both the sub-elite realm, the hybrid realm of middle-aged athletes, and then I would say ultra runners as well who had an athletic background. I see the same thing where these people are way more destroyed on a weekly basis than I am. Even at like the height of my training, I was never destroyed for days on end the way these people are. And I think it's because they work harder in the weight room. I think
Probably.
that's what it is. And I don't think it's needed because, and we've had this conversation a little bit before, but if you look at the top end of, let's say, even the hybrid sports, I'm going to focus on the high rocks because that's the most strength output you need for any version of endurance sport. If you are stronger than the world champions, you have more strength than you'll ever need. And a lot of these guys that I work with are, and some of the females, like they're deadlifting 400 pounds, or some of them are back squatting 400 pounds. Some of them are deadlifting 450, 500. Like you don't need that. But in order to feel like you got your work in, you're pushing for a number always. And they've accepted the fact now that we're not pushing above a certain heart rate on zone 2 or zone 3 runs, but they won't apply that same RPE to lifting always.
That's it right there. Why is it that we can go run low and slow in zone 2 and trust it's going to make us better at our top end, but we can't go through the range of motion and a 10 rep scheme, but 25% less than we are capable of, and feel that is a waste of time and unproductive? It's
Yeah,
very interesting, but it's
it is.
not. It's not unproductive.
Well, there's other ways, like if you need to work hard to feel productive, like that's on you.
Well, I
You got to
get
deal with
that.
that.
I feel
But
that way.
there are different ways to do it. And one concept is that the harder you're working, the slower you're working usually with strength. And that's the opposite in running. Generally, the faster you run, the cleaner your ground contact gets. The heavier you lift, generally the worse your rep gets. And so focusing on bar speed rather than bar weight is something that these people who are they're stronger than they ever have any need for in an ultra. Suddenly that gets way more race specific, is how fast can I move through space and how explosive can I get off, like out of the hole in a squat or off the ground in a deadlift, where I don't have to have this crazy structural and muscular damage from moving hundreds of pounds, but now I'm just going to have great bar speed. I think that's another way to look at it.
It's a good point. I didn't think of it that way. I think I thought of it more out of the context, like, let's eliminate the range and pick movements that activate but not damage nearly as
That's
much.
another great way. Yeah. Yeah, like I call them quarter squats, you call them 3/4, but it's the same
Same thing.
concept where you're going 25% less
Yeah.
depth.
Yeah.
But that's what I do with my heaviest back squats. I don't go super deep because I look at it like threshold training. Is it the best possible stimulus you can get? No. But does it get me most of the way there with a fraction of the recovery? Yes. So I do front squat, putting my butt to my calves. Yes. Or to my heels if I can get it there.
That's your speed
But it's
sprinkles.
lighter. Yeah. But back squat, I'm rarely, if I'm going within 10% of my max, I'm rarely getting to parallel because the benefit of that extra 10 or 15 degree is incremental compared to the recovery cost for me.
Sorting that out's interesting
It is.
because
And
we
I'm
had a
not saying it's best practice. It's case by case. Some people can just do it. Other people get destroyed by it.
I'm finding with the size of my personal quality work as when I'm in full training, big Tuesdays, and then I follow that up with a big leg session Wednesday,
Yeah,
42 that has to factor in a little bit. Like,
for
I don't know
sure.
if the juice is worth the squeeze anymore. Like, it really does negatively impact my ability to structurally and functionally run well. So I'm waffling over that, not waffling. I'm just like putting my coach's hat on with this gentleman being like, all right, how do we have our cake and eat it too?
Yeah.
And let go of the purest mentality of range of motion and the amount of weight on the bar in your hands. And it's tough to do, and that's been your whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I also believe that the heavy movers hit differently on each person. Like I can deadlift, I could try to PR twice per week and be fine recovery wise, like to run the next day. But if I back squat that same way, I'm going to be feeling like I'm in trouble each time the next day trying to run. And so deadlifting, especially if I go trap bar, that can be my day where I just try to stress my structure.
Mm-hmm.
But back squat has to have a slightly more skill based component to it for me. And I think everyone has that version for themselves.
What leg movement, let's say we're working hard, let's say sets of 8, but like we're barely getting our 8th rep, right? Like that's pretty much our RPE 10. We accomplished our 8th rep, but we didn't have 9 in the tank. So you're pretty much to failure.
Yep.
What movement ruins your legs the most for your running? It's 2 for me. One
Bulgarian split squat.
Bulgarian split squat wrecks you.
Yep.
And
I mean, it'd be cheating to say Bulgarian split squat and step back lunges or walking lunges. So I'll
no,
just say
Lindsay,
single leg. That's
walking
called
lunges for me.
Bulgarian. Outside of that, it's going to be full depth heavy back squat.
For reps, yeah. Like if I do a heavy 3, no, but if I'm going 8 or something, yes.
If I'm 5 or above,
Yeah.
it's going to get me.
Bulgarian split squats, man. And this is what this gentleman is doing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we might have to just let go of that. But
Well, that comes back to what I was saying about like time under tension, kind of, and like that single leg at a deficit, like getting below parallel engagement. You're taxing the weakest part of most people's structure.
Mm-hmm.
That hamstring insertion really has to clench at that point. And because you're not popping up out of the hole there, you're struggling up out of it. It's just so much time spent doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's doubling. Like not only is the exertion hard, but the time spent exerting is very difficult. And the difference you're going to get out of that versus dropping the weight by 20% and being explosive with it, I don't know how much you could quantify that as an ultra athlete. Like, are you leaving anything on the table? Same thing for high rocks. Like the people who
But as a
spend 7
gym
minutes.
dirtbag.
True.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. The walking lunges in a high rocks, the people who have huge squats in Bulgarian split squat numbers, but are spending 5 minutes on a walking lunge are more destroyed after that than weaker athletes who can pop up out of the hole quicker because
Mm-hmm.
their time under tension is so destructive to their legs.
Engine still must be number 1.
Yeah.
I used it with somebody last week about somebody was worried about their strength and they're getting that back up for the heavy carries. I was like, look at a 140-pound Hobie call. Why does he have the fastest bucket carry and sandbag carry? Because his ability to put out and keep it there is far better than his ability for raw power output in a single rep. He doesn't have that, but he can do a fraction of that percentage forever.
Yeah, we just saw in the first High Rocks Major of the year, Dylan Scott got to the farmer's carry with Alexander Rankovic, and they just went stride for stride the whole time. There's no world in which a lifter would look at Dylan and say he's going to match this guy, but he does
Right.
because it's not brute strength.
Uh-huh.
So my rule that I say all the time with athletes is you can add in as much as you want of whatever you want. Training, life, sports, hobbies, until it interferes with your next quality day. And then we back off a notch. And I think that's the lifting rule. Go as much as you want of whatever you want until it impacts the engine building.
Yeah. And for all those benefits, okay, let's talk HGH. Let's talk testosterone. Let's talk whatever chemicals are released on the recovery front. Go and rip yourself to shreds from the waist up. I don't care how sore your lats are, and your pecs are so sore that they hurt when they bounce when you run, if you're so lucky. And your core is sore, you sit up out of bed and you can feel it for 3 to 5 days. Great. You can get your fix in that sort of under load. If you need to be a hero and get fixated, that's okay to do in conjunction with your running and endurance work. And then just, I don't know, like pause the ego, or at least rewind it just a little bit on the leg front, whether it's range of motion or that's all new to, like, I went through like a hypertrophy phase before I refound endurance training and pursuing metrics. And it is hard to get out of that mindset, but it's starting to shift for me, I think, is what I'm getting at. That's all. If you really care about the integrity of each time you put your running shoes on, it's got to start to matter.
As much as we don't want to say it, lifting is the second class citizen.
It is.
Especially if this gentleman is training for ultras.
And it's not like this gentleman needs to lose weight. He's very athletic, lean. It's another thing if you're a 50-pound overweight athlete, and I believe you need to strength train just for metabolic burn and basal metabolic rate. I'm talking if you already have the physique, you're at a stable and healthy weight for running. We don't need any composition changes. We're just looking at pure output performance and what it does to your running. If you're that person, that's more specific. I think if you need to lose weight, you need to be lifting hard and heavy. I know that's surprising to some people. I think if you have other circumstances, you have overuse injury, or you need things that need to be rectified, of course. But I don't know, man. It's just weird that that's how I'm looking at this now. I would never have looked at it this way. Your ass better hit the grass on a squat, and your Bulgarian split squat better be so dirty that it might as well be stretching. And you know what I mean? And now I'm like, kind of just, I'm just waffling over it.
Well, I think that's what experience gives you, is the ability to be flexible on inflexible topics. And I would say, your butt should be able to hit the grass with some amount of exertion involved. But that doesn't have to be on your heaviest lift.
Yeah. All right. So that was
last question with that.
Yeah.
In order for you to feel like you worked hard on a squat, a back squat, how much weight do you have to move? Let's say for a set of 5.
To work hard?
Yeah. Let's say for you to get done and be like, that was work. That was productive. I got better today as a lifter.
I don't even think it has to be 225 for me. I think if I'm at 205 or above, I feel like I had to engage to do so. So I don't think my number is very high. Single leg work, much higher for me.
What is your most common weight lifted for a set of 3 or 5 on back squat?
I have not back squatted with purpose in a long time. I'm almost exclusively single leg.
Okay.
When I was working,
let's go single leg then. Single leg. What would your max for like 3 reps be for single leg? A single leg.
So like if I was doing like a reverse lunge right now or something, 225.
What's your most common weight you do in training?
205 to 215 for sets of 5 on like a lunge or
so you're up at a high percentage of your max.
Yes, close.
And what is the weight that would cause you to have to like engage?
185.
Right. So you have around a 30-pound difference, 30 to 40-pound difference in between what you could get away with and what you do.
Yeah, probably.
And I would say that,
but I don't go for 1 rep maxes on those. I don't know what I could do. I think I could do more than 225. I just won't. I don't have a reason to.
And so as an ultra runner, would you get the same benefit out of 185 that you would 215?
Yes, for sure.
Right. Would you maybe out of 165?
Maybe.
Right. So if you're leaving meat on the bone there in a bad way, not bad, but like in a potentially destructive way, other people are too. And I would say that I would be the same way, even though I'm more cautious in my lifting than you are. For sure, there are things I do that if I were looking at it, I'd say, you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, it's just an interesting topic for the typically men. Typically, I find it to be middle-aged or older that have a background in being strong.
Yeah.
They have a hard time letting go of the things that make them feel productive.
Well, and he had said, I'm 55. I think it was 55. I'm the weakest I've ever been in my entire life.
Yep.
And now I should back off more, or I should change what I'm doing when do you know what I mean? They're like, how do you
Yeah, and
justify that?
that's one of those things, like, and I'm not talking to him specifically, but many athletes is if we had a number we used to hit, was that useful?
Hmm.
Because we compare to that.
And what were you doing while you were trying to hit that? Were you just a gym bro or girl and you weren't running your 30 miles or plus a week either? Probably not, right?
Yeah. And was it useful? Like, was it good for you to start with? Was your training healthy? Were you healthy or were you strong? And now with this, are you more useful with a lower PR? Like, for sure, I am more useful as an all-around athlete and a healthy person when I can't quite hit my lifting PRs. Because you can't get a PR without putting more time into that, which takes time away from other things that round me out as a human and an athlete. So for sure, I'm in better race performance when I can't PR a lift.
Yeah. I've never had both. Not even close.
No. And you hear this a lot though, again, especially with guys, which is I'm weaker than I was at this time last year. It's like, yes, that's true. But is that the metric that is important?
Want your cake and have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
That's
And I'm
all it
just not
is.
even convinced that being able to PR your lifts is cake.
It's irrelevant. That statement means you want to like eat your cake and still have it still be there when you're done, right? Is that what
Yeah.
is that what
I'm
it
not
means?
sure. I'm not
You
sure
want
what it means.
you want to have your cake and eat it too. Be like, well, yeah, if I have the cake, I'm going to eat the cake. But then I think it means you still want to have cake left over, even if you've already eaten it.
You want to eat it and still have your cake.
I think so.
Okay.
It's hard to know. All right. Should we move on from that?
Let's. That was a long topic, but useful one.
Well, I just came off that call, and so I thought it was, I don't know, relevant. All right. So we can get to some questions. I did see, we did an episode or two sussing out fitfluencers and what's good and bad social media. Is it net positive or negative for the running community? So we got a few follow-ups from that, maybe a couple others. So this is from Chris. I work with Chris from Hong Kong. Question I forgot to ask on Wednesday, and I keep coming back around to. Perhaps it's one for Q&A. I like his question a lot. I think we should actually take a little time on it. Training versus sleep. At what point are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? As we know, I like to grind and get it done and stick to plan. And even when I have a work call finishing at 9 p.m. and I have to be in at 6:30 the next morning, I'm just going to get up and get the session done. If that's the 3:15 alarm, so be it. I honestly don't feel any more tired if it's 3:15 or 4 or luxury 4:45. But at what point is the lack of sleep killing you? I've been on this work schedule for a couple years now and seem to be okay, but is the lack of sleep hampering me? When are you better off just getting the good sleep and not grinding the workout? I'm going to keep grinding away anyway. I hate rest and not doing enough work, but just an interesting thought experiment. And him and his partner just PR'd their High Rocks doubles at 54 and change with his partner coming off of cancer treatment, which is incredible. Oof. So his grinding is working well. But what is your initial thought to that?
I think that when it stops working, and that's like, duh, but when you start to see warning signs, my training, I think it starts with, I can still hit my quality work, but my in-between is struggling. And then it is other parts of my life are struggling too. And then it is now my quality is going down and my race results are starting to go down. Like when you start to see those, you're not getting enough sleep. But there's not enough sleep, and then there's not enough sleep. Like most people don't get enough sleep, but they progress through life just fine. And the workout is better than the hour of sleep for a lot of people. Is when you start to get worse, or you like as soon as you see a retraction in performance, I think that's the first sign.
I think you choose the workout over the sleep 97 out of 100 times. And I think I think you will respond, even if it isn't your best because you're under recovered, as long as the key leading into competition, at least you are charged up, you can get away with it for the most part. You are exactly right. But if it's a theme with the quality days in particular, where you're really laying eggs because and I've been there. Have you ever been there? Because I've been there, where it's like,
Not long term.
not long term, but let's say it was 2 nights in a row of bad sleep, or you went out drinking with the boys years ago, and then you got 3 hours sleep, but then you had to go to work that following, I don't know, Monday, and then you don't get sleep again, and then you have a Tuesday quality, and you're like, I'm drawing from nothing. If that is a regular occurrence, like to the point where you're abandoning sessions or you're changing the deal every time, you got to look at it. You gotta. But
Oh yeah.
I don't care if you hate your recovery run or your strength work that next day is kind of apathetic and 10% lighter than you've gone before. That doesn't bother me at all. That you need to have that body ready and mind ready for that big day.
Yeah. I mean the sleep thing, it's kind of a chicken and egg, but the sleep's important to recover from the work. So if you get the work done and you don't sleep quite enough and you still get the work done again, long term, you keep doing it, then it's a net positive. As soon as it becomes a net negative is when you have to adjust it. In terms of like I screwed up some things, I made some bad choices. My sister had a college coach who was a bit of a nut job, like in a great way. And he always used to tell them, if you want to hoot with the owls, you got to soar with the eagles. And he had a lot of these things that you had to really think, like, does this make any sense at all? And what is he trying to say? But it basically meant if you want to stay up all night, you still got to be up in the morning, like up in the sky, doing the thing. Like you don't get to then sleep in the next day. Like, sure,
Yeah.
go out, do your nightlife, but you still have to do the thing the next day. And generally, if that's the priority, it's going to stop you from wanting to go hoot with the owls because you're up flying the next morning either way. So you might as well like be ready for it. And so like I'm a big fan of punish yourself for bad decisions. Short term.
I can't argue with you there.
Long term, there's a different conversation to be had, but like up
You
front,
didn't take care of yourself yesterday, whether it be eating too much
yeah.
or crappy or not. And you're like, you're gonna work at that through that today, boy.
Yeah, you didn't earn the right to skip your workout. Your workout earned the right to shame you.
Even though you feel worse than you have in a long time, you're still gonna have to dig and get it done.
I believe you should rub your nose in it.
I agree with you 100%. You're
Yeah.
not gonna get pushback from me.
Long term, though, when you can't get ahead on your sleep.
If it's every day you're rubbing your nose in something because you have a binge eating disorder and you eat an entire pie before bed every night and then you get up and bury yourself because of it and you repeat a cycle, or
That's not healthy.
No, we're not talking that.
But I think the thing that we have to talk about long term is when life schedule and your workout load and your sleep all can't fit into your day, because it will follow you into life. And none of us have a life worth sacrificing for our sport. None of us do. Now, there's a high level of that you can keep before you have to make the choice. But like at some point, you do have to reprioritize and say, like, am I sleeping enough to be a good human to the people in my life? Am I miserable, but I'm hitting my metrics? Like at some point, none of us are getting, very few of us become millionaires off this. And then it's so life changing that it was worth the sacrifice. Like don't leave life wreckage just to get the workout in. But I wouldn't stress over 1 hour sleep either.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Chris is living a clean life. It's because he works in Hong Kong. He's an expat. He works in weird time zones. And so he's just like, yeah, I got to call at 9:00 at night. I have no choice. And what do you do? Right. It's not like you're making bad decisions. This is just regular day-to-day life. Some people too, like I got a buddy, Nick, who I think he had your running hat or something.
Madison Nick? No, he
Madison
had
Nick.
my seat cover.
Seat cover. Madison Nick. I don't think Madison Nick listens anymore, but dude can get like 4 hours of sleep every night, and the guy is just fine. It drives me nuts. I think there is some sort of wiring in some people too. Like, I don't think it actually matters.
Yeah.
And then some like me, I feel like I need a couple really heavy doses to start feeling like myself again.
Well, like my difference between 7 and 9 is almost indistinguishable on a day-to-day performance level. My difference between 6 and 7 is noticeable.
Mm. Yeah, and how you feel when you get up after 9 versus how you get up after 7. I'll notice like how I actually feel out of bed, but then by the time I'm up and into my day, no difference.
If I go 2 months on 7 versus 2 months of 9, I don't
Same.
think my metrics change at all.
I think
maybe some
right.
daily happiness changes,
Mm-hmm.
but 2 months of 6 versus 2 months of 7, there will be a difference.
Yeah, and Alec Blennis, who we've had on the podcast a couple of times, he's had some posts recently in the last few weeks, which is like people get on him because he eats like, he eats like Skittles and drinks orange juice and like for his workout fuel and recovery, and he gets hammered on for like how bad he eats.
Right.
And he says, yeah, but I need the macros. This is my preferred way to get it. I am healthy. I'm functioning very well. And he argues that point, like, so be it. If my pre-workout is gummy bears and orange juice, I'm crushing it. And he makes he takes a stance on his posts, and he always takes a hard line in the sand. If you've noticed, whether maybe to get a rise, but he believes in it too. And his stance on sleep is the exact same thing. And I respect his life learned lessons. I agree. Like, you just got to suck it up and get it done. I firmly believe that. And he does too. So,
well, and the final piece to this is that most people can't fit purposeful work in less than 45 minutes into the middle of their day.
right.
Like if you had a 40-minute break between meetings or jobs, or you got a 30-minute lunch, you can't get a useful workout done and stop sweating and get back to work. But you can take a nap. And so getting up an hour earlier and getting it done, to me, is worth it because you can always fit in a 20-minute nap. If you're truly that tired, you're going to be asleep in under 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get purposeful work in 15 to 20 minutes of napping, but you can't working out, really. So that's always the other side of the equation. You can buy back the sleep. You can't buy back the workout.
Well, on the other side of the equation too is like, we're just like pretending life doesn't exist. Like, if you're a complete crab ass to your kids and falling asleep and have no tolerance for their BS because they're being temperamental and it's dinner time and you lose your crap because you're completely underwater, like, okay, for that whole thing called life might need to be taken into consideration. And maybe, just maybe, you need to do a 45-minute workout after work instead of an hour and a half workout before and lose sleep because you're a terrible person.
Right.
When this happens too often. So, all right. Anything else on that?
No. We could go a lot longer on that.
We should get we should get old sleep scientist on to tell us how much we really need it. Scare us into it. All right. Andy says, reply the influencer episode. I have a philosophy about Strava, which I lump into social media. Should be good. Because everyone can see everything we do on Strava, we're more likely to alter our training to what will impress people rather than what we need or what is planned out. Example, our rest days aren't as slow as they ought to be. We limit our recovery, we push paces more than we ought to, etc. Because of this, using Strava in general encourages some runners to run too much, too fast, or too soon. And conclusion, Strava has led to an increase in overuse injuries among runners. Bam. I don't think this can be proven, but I don't care. I think I'm right. Discuss.
Yeah, I mean, Strava has been proved to have a negative effect on the cycling community. There was a huge rise in crashes when they started going after KOMs on dangerous hills.
Sure.
Realistically, if you're the person screwing up your recovery because people will see it on Strava, you're the person who's going to find a way to screw it up either way.
Oh, hot take.
If you're that susceptible to peer pressure, like, you're going to screw it up anyway. But that's what all these soliloquies in your comments are, in your description of your workout, are for. when people post their tempo run and say, wow, this was really good considering I just got done with a stressful work meeting and my calf was so sore I didn't think I was going to get to the workout at all, and I just had a really tough conversation with my parents last night, and my dog's been sick, and
Oh
I'm
my
mounting
God,
medical
shut
bills.
up.
Isn't that what you see on there?
Oh gosh, yes.
So anyway, that's what that's for. Do your normal run and then justify it.
I was
I
getting
don't even know what the
angrier and
character limit is.
angrier with every word you're saying there.
It's hitting too close to home.
It
This is
must be.
reality.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I cannot even tell you how many races I've seen. Now it's starting to be from some people I respect, which is hard for me to say. I'm losing, not anymore. Don't
Yeah.
respect them anymore.
Yeah, don't
But
talk
people
about your
saying, wow,
feelings on Strava.
great result, especially considering I almost didn't even, you don't need to do that. Just leave it alone. But really, I mean, I'd rather have you do that than overwork your recovery run to look like a hero.
Can I tell you my biggest ick or pet peeve with how people the one way a certain subset of people use Strava, and I'm calling out a couple of my athletes, and they're going to know who they
Nice.
are, and I don't care. This is how I feel about what you do. They purposefully don't track their rest and recovery on their runs, so their overall pace looks better.
Yeah.
Like you have 5 by a mile with 3 minutes rest, and you stop your watch and pull out the timer on your phone to record your rest so it doesn't show up on your Strava. Idiot. Stop it. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. I had somebody just outline the other day they did this. Like, I'm like, how are you tracking your rest? Oh, you'll see my rest isn't in my splits, or my rest isn't in my split. So, oh my God, don't do that.
You have
What are
two
you trying
options.
to do here? That's a fake run, first of all. If you do 5 by a mile with 3 minutes rest, but only record the running, you didn't run 5 miles at whatever pace it shows.
No.
That's a lot. You're lying to your friends by doing
You're
that.
putting a filter on that run.
You're putting a filter, fake boobs, lips, everything on that thing. Stop it.
There are only two options for that are acceptable.
See, can you tell I got fired up about that a little
Yeah.
bit?
The first is you just let it go the whole time like an adult, and you keep like a regular watch going that only times your work time if you need to know like your, for whatever reason. The second is you have, well, no, that's it. You don't get to. Now, the only situation where it's, I sometimes will do it is if I do a tempo run and I'm going to do like a 1.5 mile warm up. Let's say I'm going to do a 10-minute warm up. And so when I go to start, it's not going to have a clean progression through my run. And so I will do my warm up as its own separate run so that right from the start, my pacing and my alerts are where I want them to be.
That's way different.
That's the only version of acceptable you can do there.
Yeah, I've done that, of course. I record my warm up and cool down separately.
Did that last week.
Yeah, and I want to know the meat of the workout, so it's a separate session. But if it has rest, it has rest. I'm not.
Right.
Anyways, maybe it's my own thing, but like, don't do that to make your run look better than it was. That is absolute immature childry.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And you're a liar. You're a freaking liar. All right.
I thought you were going to say only tracking their quality work in order to get their Strava score higher. Oh, my recovery work doesn't show up on there or whatever.
No.
I'll tell people this. If you're trying to impress runners with how fast you are, I'm going to make a blanket statement, which always gets you in trouble. Real runners, people, that's gonna trigger some people. Real runners, the first thing they do to find out if they're impressed by you or not is they go over to the comparison chart and see what your PRs are at every single distance compared to theirs. They don't look at your volume. They don't look at your easy run average pace. They go right over to which shows 400 meter, 800 meter, 1500 a mile, shows 5K, 10K, 10 mile or 15K, 10 mile, half marathon, 50K. It shows all of your best performances at that distance compared to you. So you can see both of them right there. That's what a real runner does to see if they're impressed by you. So your individual workouts actually aren't impressing anyone that you're trying to impress them. So don't even futz around with it. Get your PRs faster.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say impressed. I do it to see if I'm afraid.
And no,
I'm impressed by volume. Sure. Yes. I'm not impressed by PRs. I decide if I'm afraid of you at a race or not.
Yeah. To this gentleman's specific question about it makes us maybe overtrain or not follow 80/20 or periodized or polarized training or whatever. So this, and I guess maybe it's like pot, meat, kettle a little bit here, but this is absolutely part of my internal dialogue. Sometimes I have 2 reps left in my 10 by 3 minutes. Say I'm going for it.
Hmm,
And I literally use that as a receipt to say, I can't fade here. People are going to see it. Or I need to end with a bang. And I have overworked because of that.
interesting.
Because it's important for me to feel good about how I took care of business. So sometimes I have reached too hard for it to look good. Recovery, no, I don't have that issue. A lot of people do, but I've used that. Or like, hey, this is going to look really good. I'm nailing it. Let's put the exclamation point on it. I've thought about that. Have you? No?
I'm sure I have, but I'm also no good at training.
What?
Like at the very height of whatever my running prowess would have been, my training log would look less impressive than all of my peers. I always had a bigger discrepancy between what I could put up in a workout versus a race. And so because I was always at the low end, I kind of just leaned into like identifying as that. Like, let's see how blah my workout can look and then beat you. That was kind of like the chip on the shoulder I would put on,
Ah,
because I wasn't even like, you can just get a lot out of yourself in training. And I don't have that. I can get good workouts in, but I don't put up numbers that scare people. And you can. So I think because of that, I just don't even open that door because I don't have that in me. What am I going to close down at Tyler Germain's marathon pace? Who's that going to worry?
that'd be impressive, to be honest.
Actually, yeah, no, I can't answer that question. No, I can't do that.
I'm actually, now that I've been in this a while longer, nobody judges by one effort. First of all, like everybody that's paying attention gets it. They get what the waters you're circling with your run fitness. I am most impressed when I see big discrepancies pop up in pacing with people. Just like, oh my God, Connor Mance ran 7:30 pace today. Thank
Yeah.
God. And then I see his tempo at 4:40 pace. Like
Yep.
the guy ran 3 minutes per mile difference on these runs. There's somebody who's doing it right. And so it's big picture stuff for me. Like I see discrepancy in people's profile and I'm like, that's what impresses me. Discipline in that regard.
I would agree with that. I would
Mhm.
say this: if I want to see one thing that's going to blow my mind, long runs with vert or long runs with pace impress me.
They do. Okay.
Someone goes out for 20 miles at 6-minute pace. I'm like, all right, good work.
Can't fake that.
Nope. Or someone goes and they get 17 miles. Like, I feel like Tyler Veerman. It's 13 miles, 7,000 feet of vert. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was a mountain run right there. Like
Right.
that kind of thing. Those are the things that a one-off impresses me. Fast long runs and big vert long runs.
All right. Well, you know what I'm doing Saturday then?
Both.
My watch, my altimeter must be broken. 0 feet every run now. It's been like that for like a month. It's 0 feet.
It didn't even get turned off. It just broke.
Could I have turned it off on accident?
I don't know.
Because I certainly
I
didn't do
turned
it.
my noise on my alarm on my watch on accident. I didn't know it even had a sound. Usually it just vibrates on my wrist and I wake up and suddenly there's like this screeching sound in my bedroom.
And it was
It's my
from your
watch.
watch, not anything else.
Yeah.
Not bats.
No, it was my watch.
All right.
Bats may have turned that on, but it was coming from the watch.
All right. Next question. Natasha, over in the UK. We've had Natasha on the podcast twice now, I think.
Yeah.
Natasha. I think this is something that bothers her. And she wants to know why. Kirk, question for the Q&A and maybe a follow on from the running influencer episode, as I fear they may be the root cause for this. Laughy face. I see more and more people walking backwards on treadmills in the gym, and they then subsequently turn around and walk at the same pace, i.e., very slowly, forwards and backwards. Repeat. Why? Is this because they've completed all forms of forward training and this is the only way to make gains? Is this better than deadlifts for your hamstrings? Why have you not prescribed this to me? Is this some weird TikTok trend going around? LOL.
Kind of, yeah. Like the two hot things in influencer fitness right now are weighted vests and backwards walking, both of which can be fantastic tools. Neither of which should be the main mover of your training load.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the thing I think the lens she's asking about it is like general population fitness, not people trying to PR their 10K, I'm guessing, right? The people at the
Right.
gym walking backwards. The thing that we do forget about in adulthood is at play as children, or in many organized sports, ball sports in particular, there is backward, forward, lateral movement constantly, especially with kids at play and all of that. And we do lose that nature as we get older. I rarely do lateral moving anymore. You do with basketball a bit. So you're walking or shuffling backwards and laterally.
Plus, I'm a gym teacher now, Kirk.
Yeah, you're getting
Oh
it all.
my goodness.
Yeah. You got your gym shorts pulled up over your belly button like they used to, and your
Yep,
your whistle.
softball shorts that old men wear.
Yep, tucking your gut into those basketball shorts. Those were all my gym teachers growing up. Anyways, so I think there's benefit to working in other planes. And those people on the treadmills probably never move laterally and they never move backwards and they're not engaging the rear chain a whole lot. And so like rounding it out, sure. You also see people doing lateral treadmill hops or shuffles. I don't know if you've seen that, a gallop.
Yeah.
I did that with my Achilles rehab, and it was actually part of, and I think it actually did help.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of this stuff is good. I firmly believe that.
Okay.
It's
I'm just
all useful.
Making up for, like, we are intended to move in 360-degree planes on the ground, not in any other space, but like we just don't anymore. So I think there's like some, okay, do a little time doing that. It's going to help you calf engagement and hamstring engagement in particular. Which most of us just under engage with our typical day-to-day movements. That's all. So sure, great. It's not going to make you a better runner. It's not going to treat an overuse injury. I highly doubt it. I think it's just it's a way that people feel better about how well-rounded their workout is.
I think two things about it. First is I would rather see a high-level athlete doing the backwards walking than the everyman, because they have so many millions of reps forward. Like, I think it's good to get some more rear chain engagement, prevent overuse, balance out the mechanism a little bit. From a performance standpoint, I think an elite would get more out of it than the everyman.
You must elaborate. I'm looking something up right now, by the way. Okay.
Because to get to the top of any sport, you have to do so many things specific to that sport that I think some backwards walking, I mean, I'd rather just put them on a sled and have them pull it backwards for 10 to 20 seconds at a time and call it a day. I wouldn't have them walk backwards for miles. I don't think it's as needed for just someone getting off the couch, because you're not going to be going forward so much that you need to balance out the backward. However, if it allows you to get more work in because you can only go forward for 20 minutes, but you can get another 10 minutes backwards, like, great. I think more is just better for most people to be able to get closer to that 60 minutes per day. So I don't actually have an issue with it. I have an issue with it when the fancy thing replaces, it becomes the main mover. It replaces the thing you should be doing. So when people are out walking with a weight vest every day, I'd rather have you do an hour of walking every day than 20 minutes of weight vest walking every day. I'd rather have you do 5 days a week of regular walking and 1 or 2 weight vest uphill. But because it's cool and fancy and trending to put the weight vest on and go outside, you are more likely to do it. So as long as there's something waiting for you when the trend ends and you can get, like, if it's a gateway drug, fantastic. If it's just the only thing you do and you don't do the real stuff you should be doing, then it's a problem.
What do you think the backwards mile world record is?
Ooh, I would say 5:53.
5:53. Where do you come up with that number?
Just based off, I think I tried to do one in college and was like 6:53
Mhm.
or 7:53, something like that. So I just took a minute or two off that.
Aaron Yoder. He's a prominent promoter of backwards running. And he's run the Guinness World Record for the fastest backwards mile. And hold your breath, 5 minutes and 54 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Said he began incorporating backwards running into his training to alleviate knee issues he experienced while running forwards, preparing for the Olympic trials.
Oh, so this is a high level runner.
Yeah.
High-ish, at
He
least.
hopes the activity gains more popularity and perhaps even becomes an Olympic sport. I would watch that
I would watch that over race walking.
for sure.
Wow, that might be the best running math I've ever done in my life.
All right. The fastest known. Okay, this is not what she was asking, but I started getting curious. The fastest known time for running an entire marathon backwards.
Ooh.
This was done at the Sydney Marathon last year by a guy named Connor J. Fitzgerald.
Okay, if the world record's 5:53, let's just do some running math here. World record for the mile to marathon pace is about a minute. So if we say they're equivalent, it would be 6:53 pace. Let's bump it back to 7. Let's say 3:18.
Well, this one you missed by a bit.
Did I?
Uh-huh. The record by an Irish athlete run at the Sydney Marathon, 3 hours, 41 minutes and 52 seconds.
So the sport's not fleshed out enough.
Oh, wait. The backwards mile record may have been broken, not by Guinness. It's not Guinness certified, but 5 minutes and 36 seconds. Okay. Anyway.
Well, that makes the marathon discrepancy even larger. 3:41. 3:41. What pace is that, Kirk?
Probably
8:50?
No, 8:40 something would be my guess.
Now I have to look it up. My running math's breaking down on me.
It's hard to do it.
Marathon.
It's got to be 8:40 something.
8:30
something. 8:30.
Oh no, it's under 8:26.
8:30 something. Yeah, I was starting to do the math and getting down. Yep.
That's quick.
AI says adding backwards running to your routine is fun and exciting. It's fun and exciting. You will have health benefits and your mind will be busy throughout the running session. Muscle growth. Running backwards not only strengthens your muscles, but makes calf muscles, quadriceps, and shins more balanced as you reach greater muscle strength. I'm sold.
Yeah, it's kind of like, should I do 1,000 lunges a day or should I do 3x8 Bulgarian split squat?
3x8.
So just do your backward sled pulls.
All right. I could go on and on, but this, are you good?
No, let's move on.
All right. We got 2 more.
I think it's useful and overrated at the same time. I'd say, classic, my stance, it's over and underrated.
No, I think
underrated, overemphasized right now.
I think your example of if you have an hour window to work with and you spend a half of an hour of it running and a half an hour of it stretching when your goal is run performance, you are wasting your time. Yeah. If you could spend the whole hour running and then you do your half an hour stretching afterwards and nothing sacrifices, great. Do it. Right? Don't stretch really that much anyways, by the way, but that was a bad example. Stretching makes you slow. I'm going for it today.
I'm not saying that.
All right. Mama Living Fit says, hello. I just wanted to say thank you both for your amazing podcast. Not only does it keep me distracted on long runs, but all your banter and running chats are helping me get through a breakup and keeping me nicely focused on good things. I do also have a question which might be good for your Q&A. I'm a Spartan racer and ultra runner. I've run a couple of 100Ks in Vermont with high elevation and surprisingly hot weather. I really, really want to do a 100-mile race in 2026, but something mentally is just holding me back and making me sincerely doubt that I could/would finish it. Do you have any thoughts on what is needed to get ready for 100 miles and how to convince your mind it's not so bad? Thank you.
All right, another blanket statement, Kirk, that could be wrong, but I believe in it. If you have already completed a 100K, you can do a 100 mile.
That was my verbatim response to her.
Yeah, you can.
My
The
clip
only
note.
thing needed is callousing. That's it. You
Explain
physically
that.
can do it.
Explain that.
Like mentally, you just need more callousing. You didn't probably know if you could do 100K, and by the time you did the first one, you knew you could wear it well and get through the second one. The 100 miler is an unknown suffering type, but you can do it.
And the answer would be, if you've done a 50K already, the answer is no, you don't. I'm not confident that you are prepared for a 100 miler. If you have done a 50 mile, guess what? My answer is still no. I don't know what will happen to you.
I'm closer on that for sure.
But when you go from 50 to 62 and a half, you get past the 50 in the race. And I believe the 100K is the concrete yes for me. 50 mile, yeah. I'm still not sure. 100K, yes.
Yeah, for sure you can. Will you? I don't know, but you can. You're ready.
It's only 38 more miles. Only.
Yeah, and the 62 is so long.
So long.
That you've already checked most of the boxes.
Other than the sleep deprivation, true sleep deprivation box.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Now, if there's a time cutoff, that's its own thing. But physically, you're ready. You're fine.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, at some point, like, people would be like, what's the difference between a 10 millionaire and a 20 millionaire? Like, you'll know when you get there, but it's
either way, you're going to be fine.
A lot. You still have a ton of money. Like, what's the difference between suffering for 14 hours and 24? Like, there's a big difference, but there's also not a big difference.
And the thing is, the training differential between, like, let's say you're prepping, governor's off, preparing for 100K or a 100 mile, the training could pretty much look identical.
Yeah.
There could be some nuances that need to be explored. Night running, sleep deprived
At
running.
the top end, there might be different speed components, like for someone trying to win it. But trying to finish it, it might look exactly the same.
Exactly.
Other than maybe some night prep.
Yeah. Like, exactly on paper, it looks like you're prepping for the same race.
If I were prepping for the same course and one was 62 miles and one was 100, the only difference is how much time I'm spending outside at night. Or how much work I do testing out sleep deprivation. That's the only difference, honestly.
I don't
maybe a little bit more solid food options at my with my crew. And the nuts and bolts are not going to change.
Yeah, and they're so minute. Like, okay, go for an extra 10 minutes on your recovery runs. Great. What is that really changing? Not much. Maybe you need it to feel more confident. You know, instead of doing 10 by 3 minutes, you do 10 by 3:30. I mean, I'm just making shit up now, but like, the differences are so minute, it doesn't matter.
No, it wouldn't matter. I might schedule more back-to-back days in my block.
But would you?
I'd probably do very few of them for 100K because I think I could get away without it. For 100 miler, I would be doing more of those. But again, like, we're talking details now. Big picture, there's no difference in the training.
I hope this gives you,
especially for a slower athlete. I'm not saying she's slower, but if you're not trying to win, I consider you like on the slower rather than the faster side of the spectrum. And that's okay. Like, just from time on feet, what are you going to do? Go from 15 hours to 18 hours of training per week? Probably not, right? Probably not at 15 hours to start with.
So do it. Fear of the training should not be why you don't, because I believe you're probably already majorly doing everything you need to be prepped, and you probably did that in your lead into your 100Ks that you've already done. So
I truly think a 100 miler would be less stressful than a 100K for me. Because I wouldn't worry about trying to race the 100 miler.
The intensity is off the table for you.
Totally. 62 miles is just foolish enough. I'm just foolish enough to consider that something I could race. And I shouldn't be. I should be just executing a plan, right? But I might get caught up early and then spend a lot of time paying for my sins. I would not do that in a 100 miler. Yeah. I'd be so afraid of the distance that I wouldn't be stressed out over performance.
Yeah, I could see that. I think anything over 50K right now scares me because I don't know any other speed than race. Race it.
And that's why I would put myself in the slower category. If I were
Yeah.
going to run a 100 miler, I would not be doing it for performance. And so I would be on the slower end. And so it would be less stressful.
Well, hopefully, I think it was Shelly. I deleted it. This gives you the confidence to push the button. Push it. Push it. All right. Last one, Scott. I don't have a strong opinion on this, so I'm curious if you do. We don't talk about this ever on the podcast. Ever, ever. But our athletes do all the time. Question for the pod / Q&A. Continuing down the is this influencer BS path. I saw something the other day that said you can train your HRV. Thoughts? Also, I'd love to hear an entire episode on HRV. I feel like so many people are starting to use that as a tool, but I can't find any consistency to it. When I'm training, mine is elevated, but when I'm not training, it's normal. Then I get weird random spikes and dips. Seems like an inconsistent at best. I don't think we've said HRV on this podcast in the history of the podcast.
For sure we have.
I don't think so. I haven't.
Okay. Well,
maybe I have.
Can you train it? In what? To do what?
To take out the garbage.
Like, I assume it means to be better, to respond better to things, but that's kind of like just like a byproduct. That's like saying you can train your heart to have a lower resting heart rate. Like, yeah, but only through work. I would have to hear a bigger explanation for what the question is, but yeah, you can train any system of your body, but it still abides by its rules. It responds to stress. And so as you get better at handling stress, your HRV is going to change. But if you're training correctly, you're constantly stressing your system. And so all you're going to see is up and down.
Which is what this guy's saying, inconsistent at best. So he doesn't know how much stock to put into it.
I wonder how long he's been tracking for and how long he's been an athlete for, because people do see trends with their HRV. There are athletes I work with who they've been tracking it for years and they know, like, hey, I've been off for like a week or two. I think something's going on. I need a deload, or I'm going to get sick, or I think I hear all the time, I think work was stressing me more than I thought. My HRV has been off lately. So people do notice trends and patterns.
You got to pick one. You have to. Good or bad, tracking for you as an athlete, all things considered.
Good.
You do.
Yeah.
You don't do it.
No. I don't do a lot of things that would be good for me, Kirk.
Yeah, maybe it's my own personal bias with how I operate, but getting attached to it and then letting it affect decision making or how I'm going to perform or race or train, I would struggle with that. I could look at it maybe after the afterwards and maybe be okay, but I don't know, man.
You were talking personally. I was talking net positive or negative on the community. Net positive for sure. It's got people thinking about their metrics and their stress and their recovery. And I think tracking HRV encourages you to, if not polarize, vary your training intensities. It punishes you for going hard every day. And so from that standpoint alone, I think it's been good for the fitness community. I think like any other metric, people can become controlled by it.
So would a way to train your HRV be like bury yourself and do it intentionally and show your body how tanked it can be so that even a little bit of reprieve you respond to on the HRV front? Would it be like, I guess I don't know what the influencer said you could do to train your HRV, but it would have to be purposeful, damaging, sleep deprivation type work, I feel like, in order to build a callus so that it doesn't take as big of a hit from the next one.
I'm looking up, can you train your HRV? Before I get into that, my answer would be like, I think just like any other training, the best way to improve it would be to dose it in moderate levels frequently, which is just good training.
But we're doing that already if we're training with purpose. Right?
Everything's yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. How? Sleep hygiene, exercise, dietary modification.
That's just making it better. That's just
That's just following a good training plan and a good lifestyle.
let's
You're
just
not
saying
training it.
you're just getting your sleep and training.
That's just having a resulting biomarker from an input.
I have no intention to track, I guess. Maybe it would hold me back a little bit. I don't know. On days I shouldn't be
It
pressing.
gives a cut and dry, easy red light, yellow light, green light for people. So that's why it's popular. It has been marketed and monetized, which is why it's going to be pushed at us. You can get the same benefit out of just going by feel and keeping a training log for sure. But it's simple and clean and easy, and it gives people a fun device and an app, and people love that.
What are your thoughts on, like, for example, got people on a 7-day training schedule. They track their HRV, athletes I work with. And then part of it is, yeah, but my HRV was in the tank. So I had a bad workout, or like it's very synonymous one with the other. And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing, but it is part of the, I don't know, where the internal dialogue they become cohesive with how you're performing. And maybe, just maybe, like, or for example, if you are on a plan, like we have our athletes and their HRV's in the dirt, but they have a quality session, should they go off script then? Do they now or do you have to stick to the work to be done no matter what? It gets tricky.
Well, data's only as good as what you do with it. And if you are, as you would say, overreaching and training intentionally, then it is just going to be what it is. If you follow a style of training where you use your availability there to determine when you go hard, then you have to be pretty consistent with that. Picking and choosing is never great because it removes consistency. It would be a very effective means of training is to just go hard, do your quality days anytime your HRV is green.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and rock. I think that would be a very intuitive way of training.
All right. Would you ever consider experimenting?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to tell people anything they won't know if they've just wore a heart rate monitor and kept a training log for 6 months.
Yeah.
I think it's really good, though, to take the thinking out. The same way people who know what they're doing will hire a coach. I think that's why you wear a whoop strap. You don't have to guess. It just tells you what you need to know.
Yeah, it's fair. All right. Well, on that, our time has come to an end. You must go.
Are we cashed out here?
Well, you must go mold young bodies and young minds.
Is the queue empty, though?
The queue has been drained.
Good. Then I'm happy.
Yeah, we'll get 3 to 10 more here in the next couple of days after this episode drops, as we always do. All right, sweet. Thanks for listening, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.